All right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Relationships with Intention. We are so happy that you have joined us on today. I am your host, Shawan. Do us a favor, like, share, follow, and engage throughout today's session. I am so excited about my special guest on this evening. Her name is Lady Vance. She is a life coach and founder of Blended Families Rock, as well as Open Hearts Childcare. Both are family-oriented businesses she's ran since 2015. LaWanda and her husband of 12 years, Bishop Derek Vance, also pastor Faith to Faith Ministries. LaWanda wears many hats and has a variety of interests, both family and interpersonal relationship management is the common thread that ties everything together. She would like to open a building dedicated to blended families within the next 5 years. Yes, and start her own TV show about blended families, where she will focus on the importance of fostering healthy relationships, especially those on the brink of divorce, due to the challenges that being blended could bring. LaWanda is a proud nana of 12 grandchildren, and when she's not running her child care facility, you can find her hanging out with her grandchildren, traveling, cooking, and shopping. All right, that is amazing. And she loves to dress.
Yes, that's my pastime.
Yes. Lady Vance, how are you today?
I am doing amazing. Thank you so much for inviting me. I greatly appreciate the invite. Thanks for sharing your platform.
Amen. You are very welcome. So our topic today again is blended families. And I just want to read this stat real quick. Did you know, according to the most recent data, 16% of children are living in what the Census Bureau terms blended families, a household with a step parent, step siblings, or half sibling. This share has remained stable since the early 1990s, when reliable data first became available. Wow,
Wow.
that's something. And then it also goes on, this is something Google has stated, that when both spouses have children from a previous marriage, the divorce rate is around 70%. My goodness. So I want to get things started today, asking Lady Vance if she would share her testimony as she has a blended family.
Well, my testimony is pretty simple. My husband and I blended our family together. He has been blessed with 3 children and I with 4. And it has been a great journey, I will say, because now our children are adults. We have grandchildren now, and so it has shifted the dynamics from when we first got married 12 years ago. And so it has been, there has been challenges, there has been ups and there's been downs, but in our blended family, we have been able to manage and get through a lot of the different obstacles due to having God at the center of our family. And with that, it has allowed us to be able to continue to go to the next level in being in a blended family, because there's levels to it. When you first start out, you start out in one area, you're getting to know, you're in, and it took us time to get to know the different facets of our blended family. But I can honestly say even though we've had some challenges, which is, being a bonus mom and a bonus dad, there has been challenges with that, but at the end of the day, I think that us respecting each other's boundaries and just knowing that we're taking a family and putting a family together to make sure that the blend is blended well. And so we have been blessed to be able to do it. Not perfect, but we're doing it. So my
Yeah.
testimony is we're doing it. Okay. We're doing it.
Lady Vance, can you speak to us about a challenge someone may face in a blended family?
I think because I coach families on a regular basis, and so one of the challenges I see with families a lot of times is just not trying to do things too soon. And what I mean by that is when you first get into a blended family, you know, sometimes the bonus parent is trying to win the kid over and
Mhm.
they go a little bit too hard, if I want to use that word. And I think that it's not always necessary to do that. Sometimes we have to step back and just let things flow instead of trying to push things too soon.
And when you say let things flow, are you speaking of trying to win the children over?
Yes, I am because you know if you try too hard, you I found that you have to first learn their language.
Mhm.
Every child's language is different. And so you may think that it might be buying them things. You might think that it might be getting on their level, trying to be their friend and all of that kind of stuff. But, until you really, really take an assessment of that individual child and really get to know that child, it is not wise to push too hard too soon.
Mhm. What are some things a parent should be looking for when they assess the child?
Um, One of the things is a lot of times kids will tell you exactly what they're feeling. And sometimes, as bonus parents, we may not listen. I think it's super
Mhm.
important to listen and not allow your own thoughts to make you think you heard this or that, to actually ask your bonus child, um, what do you mean by that? Or, just
Mhm.
figure out a better way to kind of get to know them and get to know they what they like, what they don't like, um if they're sensitive in an area, just sometimes parents can, they can think they know and they really don't.
Right.
They really don't.
That is so true. So true. So really just taking the time to get to know the child or children really individually to figure out what it is he or she likes, what
Yes,
he or she don't like,
yes,
mhm,
yes,
and build from
absolutely.
there.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Build from there. And it's okay to think you know something and actually not know it, and be okay with letting them know, I miss that, and that's okay because remember, we're still building relationship within that blended
Mhm.
family. And so in order to build that relationship, you have to be okay with not knowing it all.
I think that's so good. So in addition to building a relationship with your significant other, you're building a relationship with the child or children as well.
Yes,
Mhm,
absolutely. It can't be a one-way street. I've
mhm,
noticed, even in my family, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just building something with my husband and forgetting the fact that he came with 3 children. I came with 4 children. They matter. It's not just about us, but it's about us. And what I mean by
mhm,
that is you have to love those children, those bonus kids, like you love your children. And
yes.
there should be no separation when it comes to loving the bonus children. If you want your husband to love you or your wife to love you, you need to make sure you're loving on them babies too, or those adults, because
Mhm.
there's different facets of the blended family. And so
Uh-oh. I think we lost Lady Vance. I'll wait for her to come back on. I see some of your questions. Continue posting any questions that you would like for me to ask Lady Vance. Lady Vance, if you can hear me, just come back on when you can.
here we go. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, I had to come back in. I do apologize. I do
No
apologize.
problem. No
Can you can,
problem.
can you ask me that again? I don't recall the question. I know we were talking about something.
We were discussing building a relationship with the children, and then you brought up something about the adult children, and I'm not sure what ages your bonus children were when you and your husband married, but if they were adults, what was building a relationship like for them? And if not, what can you tell the people about building relationships with adult children?
Well, my husband's children were already adults, and so um I thought that that would be a little easier, but that's not always the case.
Mhm,
One thing I've learned that when they're younger, sometimes you can shape and mold them, but when they are already adults, it's a little bit more of a challenge. And so
mhm,
I really had to learn that. I had to learn to respect their opinions and respect that there were boundaries. There are different types of boundaries when they're adults opposed to when they're children. Because when they're children, we can kind of make we can make some rules, in a different space opposed to when they're adults. it could get a little, heated if you try to make some rules and set boundaries that they may not be in agreement with. And so I learned very early on the importance of respecting how they feel, how they move, how they may not move. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they just don't move like you want them to move.
Yes,
And
yes.
so as the bonus parent, I had to learn to respect that and still deal with them on an individual basis, because at the end of the day, my one of the most important thing was for to build a relationship and build healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. That's very good. What if the adult children don't want to see his or her mom or dad marrying?
Oh, yeah, that is a great question. And I find that that is something that a lot of my families that I coach deal
Mm-hmm.
with. And I always, tell them that one of the things that you can do is try not to force anything. Kind of let the nature of things take their course. The
Mm-hmm.
more they see you and your husband or wife sticking together on matters,
Mm-hmm.
the more the respect level will come up.
Yes.
If they see you and your husband or your wife not being able to be on the same page, if they see mom or dad kind of going behind each other back in matters and things of that nature, that makes it easy for them to set up the distinction. And so we have to be mindful of that.
Yes. That's good. Thank you for that. I'm going to switch gears for a minute. I have a couple questions from someone watching. And the first
Mhm.
question is, do you ever feel comfortable enough as a step parent to act as a disciplinarian to your bonus children? And were they ever at all receptive to it?
I think that when you have bonus children, you and your mate need to sit down and discuss what will be the way we discipline.
Mm,
Because I feel like there has to be a level of maturity in order for a bonus parent to discipline. You have to be in the right space. If your heart ain't right, if your heart isn't right, if you have a problem with the other parent, you might want to
mhm,
not discipline, because you may do things out of your flesh, out of your own, thoughts and depending on the situation. I really
mhm,
think that it is important as bonus parents to really have a conversation with the other parent. And then, sometimes you even need to bring in the, because you have the bonus mom, the bonus dad, the bonus, however the dynamics is. Sometimes it needs to be a collective conversation with everybody. Because what I've found is some parents don't like for the other person to discipline the child. And if there's some previous history with you and the other parent, that might not be a good idea. And so I think that you need to evaluate, do a self-evaluation before you step into wanting or thinking you should discipline someone else's child.
mhm. Very good. Very good. And I thought it was two questions, but it sounds like um, the two questions were kind of similar. So thank you for answering that, Lady Vance. I'm going to skip around a little bit. What are some fun things about having a blended family?
Oh, well, for me, One of the fun things for me was the fact that I had four sons. I have four sons. And so with my husband, when we became blended, I got the privilege of getting two daughters, you know? So I
Oh,
have two bonus
mhm.
daughters. So we get to do all of those things that I wasn't able to do with my sons. You know, I can't take them to go get their nails and their feet done. We just not doing that. Okay. But
Mhm.
having the bonus daughters and you know, we were able to go, we do facials and we go shopping, we go on girls' trips, and you know, so that was super cool for me because I'm like, oh my God, you know, and you know, sometimes because they're not too much younger than me. You know, I'm only 25. But so,
Yes.
so wink, wink.
Right, right. That's
And
like me. I
so,
said I haven't grown past 20 for
yeah.
after 20.
Right. And so I'm able to, you know, do certain things with them that,
Mhm.
you know, I wasn't able to do with my son. So that has been really fun. And just having, you know, them come to me and we talk about life and, you know, I'm able to give them, you know, wisdom and, you know, just watching them grow into the women that they have grown into. So it's been pretty dope.
Good, good. I have another question for
Mhm.
from a viewer who wants to know, how do you handle the holidays?
The holidays. Well, for me, my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. And so our family knows that Thanksgiving is super important. So um, because Thanksgiving is the day that I really enjoy, I always ask, let's make sure everybody's here for Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
and then we'll figure out, you know, Christmas and the other holidays like that. I think that that needs to be a conversation that the family has. I do know that a lot of the families that I speak with, who I coach, they have issues with the bonus parents wanting wanting the children to be with them on certain holidays and it being a real big fight. But one of the things I suggest to them is this: if you don't do every other year the other parent has the children, you could also do, you get them in the morning, I'll bring them back later on in the evening. That way you both
That's
get
good.
them for that same day, if that
Mhm.
works. If it's a
Mhm.
situation that the you live out of town, then you know you may have to visit it in a different manner. But if you're very close together, it's not going to hurt. They wake up in the morning with you, and then you know you would just have to do your stuff a little earlier, but then okay, we can
Mhm.
have them to you by 3 o'clock. You the kids stay from 3 to whatever, you know, and do it like that. So those are just some ways that we can keep the confusion down.
Mhm. Very good. Very good. My next question is, do you ever have moments where you are impartial to your child or children over your bonus child or children?
That's a good question as well. I look at it like this: every child has a different need.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't necessarily say being impartial. I would say, depending on the need,
Mhm.
some children need more than others. And so you have to evaluate the need. And then I think it's also important when doing that is making sure that you don't always tell the other child that you did X, Y, Z, so that you can keep the confusion out of the way. You know, sometimes bonus parents and parents, we can say, well, I did this for such and such, and I did that for such and such. not realizing that that may make them feel some type of a way. So to alleviate the confusion or hurting someone's feelings, if you know that one child needs something that the other one may not need, just take care of it and do it quietly and let it be. That makes it so much better. And I've done that. I've had to do that and it works.
Mhm. Sometimes though, one child may go and talk, not trying to start confusion, just
Right.
just talking about the experience, and then all of a sudden the other child may feel left out or unloved or whatever the case may be. If you are aware of that, how would you recover that situation?
I've also had that happen. And what I had
Mhm.
to do was I had to explain to them the need.
Mm,
The need was this. And then I remind them of them having a need at one point. And
mhm,
that's how you fix that. Because then it brings them back to think about, well, when mom, I had a situation and mom did this, that, or that for me. And oh, okay, but mom did that for them. So it helps them to identify,
mhm.
well, it might not have been the same thing, but I still had a need and she came through, or he came through and he fixed it, or she fixed it.
Mhm.
So that's how I fix that situation, because I'm a firm believer. I try my best to not leave any room for the enemy.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And I was just about to ask you, Lady Vance, how do you recover, or how can you be proactive? I think it's very important to be proactive. So, is there a way a parent or both the parents could be proactive in letting the children know if there's a need, we may do this or that for a certain child? It doesn't mean we don't love you any less. We love you all the same, and if you feel a certain way, we want you to come and talk to us about it. Our doors are always open to you. What are your thoughts
Yes,
about that?
yes, that is super important, to make sure that you are leaving the door open, leaving room for all of the kids. Because, like, I'll just say this, my children, they all feel like they are all important. And
Good.
how I do that is I spend individual time with them.
Mm,
I get the grandchildren, I spend individual time with the grandchildren. I spend time together with all of them. And
mhm,
so it makes them all feel like they're all the number one. And so
mm.
I think that that's important, to
Wow.
take the time out to make them all feel like, and I'm not just saying that. You can call
Mm-hmm,
each one of them and they'll
mm-hmm,
tell you, I don't know
mm-hmm.
how she does it, but I when I'm
Wow.
with her, I feel like I'm the number one. And that's
Wow.
super important for our
Mm-hmm,
kids, for our bonus kids, to feel like I'm number one. And I know you think you number one, but no,
mm-hmm,
baby, I'm number one. And
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
there
Wow.
are ways, there are definite ways to do that. And I just mentioned, a couple of them, but there are so many other ways that you can do that to make them, feel like they are special.
That's awesome. I love that. My next question is, what are some things children may struggle with from being in a blended family?
Well, one of the things I've found that I hear that a lot of my families, and I'm giving you a little bit of my family as well as what I
Mm-hmm,
do in my coaching, because it may
mm-hmm.
touch bases for whoever's listening. So that's why I'm kind of doing it that
Yes.
way. Um, so all of this isn't about my family per se, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also with the work that I do.
Yes.
And so, uh, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I'll ask the question
Yes, can you?
again. Let's see. What should, wait a minute, did I go up? What are some things children may struggle with from being in a blended family?
Okay. One of the things that I think that they struggle with the most is when parents are having issues with one another.
Mm,
How sometimes parents involve the children into adult situations. That is
mm-hmm.
very, very toxic for the blended
Yes.
family. What I've learned is this: when you're having a problem with the bonus parent, it is in your best interest to make sure that you go to the parent. Keep the children out of it. Don't discuss certain things around the children, because then that makes the children, whether young or adults, feel like they have a say in it.
Mm-hmm.
People,
Mm-hmm.
they have to know where their place is. Children's place is not
Yes.
in adult situations. And so we have to be mindful of that, of not bringing them into situations.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. That's very good. Now, what should a parent do if their child or children struggle with feeling disloyal to the bio father or the bio mom?
I always tell them this: it is a absolute blessing to have more than one parent. It really speaks volume to the child, because you get to have two people who love you, two people who want the best for you. So I give them that aspect of it. So you don't have to pick or choose. You can love us both, you
Mm-hmm.
know and when
Mm-hmm.
you come at it that way, I think it helps them to kind of put their guard down a little bit more, because they don't feel like, oh man, I can't like my bonus dad more than. No, you're not. You
Right.
like him or
Mm-hmm.
her for whatever it is that you like him or
Mm-hmm.
her for, but it never takes the place of your biological parent. And kids
Mm-hmm.
should not have to even feel that way. I think sometimes the adults can be they can be bad for that too. They kind of, from my experience, let me just say, they push that on the kids. And so then they
Mm-hmm.
begin to adapt that attitude that they have to like one parent more than the other.
Okay. I have another question, Lady Vance, from a viewer. And the question is, have you ever coached families where adultery was involved?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I sure have.
Mhm.
And uh, to the point to where it was with the other parent. So imagine that.
Wow.
And they work through it and they are still together. So
Wow. So there is hope for a family if
absolutely.
mhm, mhm,
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we are going to have issues in our blended
mhm,
families. Um, but we have to know that you have to be willing to fight, you have to be willing to work,
mhm.
and you have to be willing to forgive.
Yes.
You have to be willing to get to the root of whatever the issue is or was, and move
Mhm,
past that. Really, really evaluate the condition of your heart concerning whatever the situation was.
mhm. Yes, and oftentimes adultery and if divorce results from it, it does such a number on the family, the wife
It
and the
does.
children. Yeah,
It does. It does.
so okay, so the person was saying there was never any blended family situation that came out of it. I think she was just wanting to know if you coached, you know, someone who had experienced that.
I have.
So
Yes.
what I'm going to do is at the end of this live, I'm going to place your contact information in so those who would like to contact you can do so.
Absolutely.
All right. So my next question is, what is necessary to help marriages flourish when it comes to blended families?
For me, I'll give you a little bit. For us, me and my husband, um, we sat down and we had a real conversation about how we wanted our blended family to look. And one of the things that we both agreed upon was this: we were not going to allow our children to separate us. And that has really, really helped us to be strong and to move past different situations that may have come about in the last 12 years, because we always go back to, yeah, that situation might be going on, but what did we say? We said we were going to stick together. And that's what
Yes.
we have done. We stick together. Even if it's a situation to where we may not agree right away, but we find an agreement so that we can move past it. So we have kept our word with not allowing the children or anything for that matter to come in between us.
I think that's so key. I think Steve Harvey said something like that when he married his current wife, that, they're going to be together. They're creating this atmosphere of love. And if you want to, you can partake in it. But this is what we're creating here. So I
That's
think that
right.
has to be understood up front.
Yes, if what's understood don't need to be explained. You know?
Yes, yes.
Mm. I ain't
Exactly. I
going
love it.
nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. You know, you got to
Yes.
have that type of attitude, like we are
Mm-hmm.
in this for the long haul, you know.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. Let's see. What is my next question here? What can be done when the bonus children feel resentment?
Ooh, wow, great question.
Mm-hmm.
I think when they are feeling a sense of resentment, one of the things you have to do is first find out the why.
Mm.
The
Mm-hmm.
why is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we think we know the why, but we've
Mm-hmm.
never asked the why.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going on what we think. And then when we find out the why, it's like, oh man, I could have just told you, I just left the key. It could be something as simple as, I thought you locked me out the house and you ain't want me to come see my daddy. Well, that might not
Oh,
even been the
yeah.
case. It could have been the fact
Mm-hmm.
that I lost the extra key. So I hadn't even went to the store to get another key. And that is the why, not what you
Mm.
thought. So it's
Right.
important to understand the why.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah,
good.
very
That's
important.
good. Mm-hmm. What are some things we can do to build an atmosphere of love in our home?
Atmosphere of love. Hmm. I think, it's important to, like I said previously, make everybody feel important,
Mm-hmm.
make everybody feel special. Pay attention, because you have to find out what their love language is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to care enough to find out. If you're the type of person, you're so consumed with what you want and how you want things, you won't take the time to create an atmosphere of love.
Mm-hmm.
That love should be felt as soon as they walk in the door. One of the things I do, because I enjoy cooking, and so my kids know, my bonus kids and all, they know Lawanda's gonna cook. When
Mm-hmm.
they get sick, I make homemade chicken noodle soup.
Wow.
That is one of the ways that I set the atmosphere here for love. So they know
Mm-hmm.
you're not eating you're not gonna eat Lipton's chicken noodle soup. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
eat mama's chicken noodle soup. And
Wow.
I've been doing that for my children. And now I have spew that over to my bonus children. And they know that. They know when they get sick that they can get some of my good old chicken noodle soup. So
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Yes, I love that. And then your husband, Bishop Vance, says have family events. So what are some of those events that you two may have?
well, like during the holidays, I like to have like we haven't did it in a couple of years, but we would have Christmas parties, and then we would have games, and we would dress up. I would cook. We would just barbecue. My husband loves to barbecue, so we do that a lot. Things like that. We might go and just get all of the grandkids and take them to Chuck E. Cheese, or we go to the park
Mm-hmm.
and we go get wet. Um, it doesn't always have to be money involved. Sometimes it's just pure spending time. I run a daycare, so I already had a fun house. So,
Mm-hmm.
I might tell the parents just drop the kids off and give them some time to do some things for themselves. And, we get all the grandkids and we just,
Wow.
we have fun. We might even camp out downstairs and make little pallets on the floor and watch movies and a popcorn, just the simple
Wow.
things.
Mm-hmm. They're simple but mean so much.
Yes, yes, they mean a lot. The kids
Mm-hmm.
say like, I want to go over Granny and over Nana house so we can have some popcorn. I want to go, okay, that's what we're gonna do.
I'm laughing because your husband says, keep cooking, we throw down. And then Sister Kamitha will like your recipe for your chicken
Got
noodle
you.
soup.
I got you. I'm telling you, I just made some last week and I put a lot of it, like, matter of fact, I gotta go take my father-in-law some. Um, and I make different kinds. I kind of am led by the spirit, like what should I put in this soup? Because I tell my kids all the time, and they swear it's healing in that soup. I say, yeah, because I'll be praying. I'll be like, God,
Mm. Yes,
cover them and
yes,
help keep them
yes.
safe and give them healing, and then I give it to them and they feel better. So, and I've been doing that for years. So yeah.
Wow. That's the beauty of a praying wife. I tell you, that's so beautiful. Do you ever encounter space issues in your home with with all of the children? I don't really like to say bonus children. I just like to say children, but I understand. And
Yes.
also the grandchildren.
Sometimes I feel like I do because, I was just telling my husband a few weeks ago, I was like, I need a bigger house. And then I've been showing him this house that I desire. So y'all pray for me. He's
Yes.
like, I don't know how you're gonna get that. I was like, I serve a good God. What you
Yes,
mean?
yes,
but
yes.
but because I am the entertainer, I enjoy entertaining family, I enjoy entertaining friends. And so right now I make it work,
Mhm.
but it can be a little busy around here during the holidays, just trying to accommodate everybody, and our blended family is getting bigger. So, you know, but right now I think we're okay as far as the space. And then too, sometimes they come in at different times. You know, a group might come in the morning, because sometimes we do like brunch, we'll do breakfast for the holidays. And so I'd like them to all be here so we can pray together, but sometimes that doesn't work. So we'll do different ones come in at different times.
So what would you tell someone that struggles with space in their home with a blended family?
If you're struggling with space, I would suggest to have certain times where the families come, depending on if you can accommodate. If you can accommodate 15 and you have 30, do half and half, you know, and do it like that. Or if it's you can only accommodate 5 or 6, just, you know, at a time, just do a little bit at a time, and have something prepared for each group that comes in, and do it like that. That's what I would suggest. You know, if you start out praying with this group, then the other group come in, y'all pray together, or, you know, however it may work. Just, I would say, take them group by group, and do it like that, and see if that works. And just, you know, let them know, you know, we don't have a lot of space, but we want to make this work for everybody. And then too, you know, I even thought about maybe renting a area that you can have everybody come to, and then that also helps to accommodate. You know, you might have to start planning ahead of time. Let's plan to go, you know, here, and you know, have different family members as a committee do this or do that. We got a cleanup crew, we got this, so everything won't be on just one, you know, part of the family, but everybody can collectively work together.
Okay, that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. What would you say, or advice would you give parents who have children who do not want to interact with one another?
I think it's important to find out what they like to do. And that's a way to kind of persuade them to interact. If you find out what their interests are, then incorporate a little bit of everybody's interests to make it to where they may want to participate. Because, you know, you might have those kids who, you know, some of your kids might not like to do this, or one might like to do that. But if you incorporate a little bit of this, a little bit of that, it'll help loosen them up a little bit, I think, and bring them to say, well, you know what, I don't like that, but I like playing this game. You know, maybe some games, you know, get some board games out, do some charades, you know, just, you know, karaoke's, and just different things that you can do, to go to the park, or go fishing. You might, you know, plan different trips and different things that you can do, that, you know, that can be for the boys and girls, you know, because sometimes that's another thing that families run into, is trying to figure out things that boys and girls can do together. So.
Okay. Should a child be forced to accept his or her bonus mom or dad?
Absolutely not. I think that in time it will work itself out, but I think that it is important to let nature take its course, in a sense. And what I mean by that is, forcing it can hinder the process of what needs to happen to move forward. If that person doesn't like you, or they have a problem with you, and you're trying to force them, and that's just going to make it worse. But if you pull back and let them see you in different areas of the relationship with the other kids, with your mate, that might pull them toward you. Or even situations that happen. Sometimes it takes a situation. Sometimes in blended families, it may even be a death that will pull that child toward you. Or it may be a situation at school. It may be a situation in their life, in a relationship, that pull them toward you and open the door. I would say that when the door is open, you just be mindful of how you address things with them when the door opens.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. My next question is, should there be regular family meetings in blended families? Why or why not?
I believe so, because meetings help bring out strategy. Meetings help you find out if there's something you need to work on, if there's something that you're missing, if there's an offense, or if you need to maybe take a trip, or just meetings really help the blended family navigate better, I think. So I think it's definitely important to do it, and it just depends. You would find a time that works for everybody so that you can have a meeting. Sometimes you got to have a family meeting, and sometimes you may even have to have one-on-one meetings, with your children, because sometimes they might have some personal things going on that they may not want to discuss in front of the siblings. So meetings are definitely important. And you have to, when you have meetings, excuse me, sometimes you have to make sure that you be quiet, because I know some bonus parents, they talk too much. Sometimes the other kids don't want you telling their business. And so we have to be mindful of that too when we have our meetings. Be careful not to discuss certain sensitive situations with the other children.
So the meeting should be held collectively as a family, and then there's times you will meet with just the parents and the children.
Yes, yeah. Depending on, because I mean, if there's depending on the age too, because if you have younger children, you may not want them to be in a meeting with your 17 and 18 and 16-year-olds, because that might be a conversation that they should not be in. But you also want to have conversations with them just to see, hey, how was today? How was your school day today? Have there been any issues at school? Just talking to them and just seeing where their head at. Have you been feeling any, have you been getting bullied? Or, those meetings pull out different things that we need to know as parents.
That's good. That's good. Lady Vance, have you ever seen relationships where the parents, they were married before, now they're divorced, and they've come together and get married, but they remain in separate homes? Have you ever seen that before?
Where they got married and then they got divorced?
Well, they were divorced before. They had relationships previously now, and they have children. They met each other, fell in love, then they get married, but they remain in separate homes.
I have not seen that.
Okay.
I have not seen that, but I would definitely ask why. Because if you come in and you're already separate, how do you connect the blend? It's
Mhm.
like you're setting yourself up to not win,
Mhm.
and I think that it's important if you're in a blended family to
Mhm.
blend. Now if it's because of some house situations and things like that, it really depends on the situation. It depends on the situation.
Mhm.
But I have yet to see anything like that I can
Mhm.
recall. I don't
Mhm.
recall.
Mhm. Yeah, I think some people feel that that's a good idea just to, because the children are young, just to, keep things, just to give the children, I suppose, that freedom in their own home environment. So the couple is married and they come together regularly, but they just keep the home environment separate.
That's a recipe for the enemy.
Mm,
I mean, when
mhm,
I look at it, that's how I look at it. It looks like a
mhm.
recipe for the enemy, because children are learning how to conduct through the eyes of their parents. And if
That's
we
right.
are already showing them distinction,
Mhm,
then how do they learn what it looks like to be together as one
mhm,
happy family or one family?
mhm.
You're already keeping things separate. So, that could be a bad thing. Now, if it works, but I think in the long run,
Mhm.
I could see you doing it in the beginning, but you have to have an idea to say, okay, we're doing this right now, but in the next
Right.
year, everybody need to be in the house together, because I can
Mhm.
understand if it's already been, a pulling away of the family.
Mhm.
You have to go through a process of healing. Oh, I can see it in that aspect, but you should be working toward bringing the family together under one roof.
Yes. 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 I agree. I agree. Is there anything that I may have forgotten to ask you, Lady Vance, in regards to blended families?
Not that I can see. I mean, those were all some very great questions. Even the questions that, some of the viewers asked, they were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was great information, and I hope and I
Mm-hmm.
pray that somebody, heard something to where they can apply it to their blended families, because we rock. I don't care what they say.
Yes.
It might
Yes.
say 70%, but I
Mm-hmm.
believe that blended families rock. And we rock because we have to stick
Mm-hmm.
together in this thing. We have to. We just have to. These kids and our families, they depend on us, especially as bonus parents, to make sure that we are being all we can be to hold the family together.
Yes. So we are so thankful for your ministry. We miss seeing you come on live on Facebook. So we
Oh,
hope, Sister Kamita and I, we hope that you go back to doing those lives, you and your
I
husband,
am.
real soon, because the information
Ah,
you two shared was so valuable. So we just look forward to hearing
absolutely.
more from you two soon.
Oh, you
What
got
can
it. We're working on it. We're actually working on some things right now, for to start back. So you guys will be seeing some things. I kind of we stepped away because we needed to, do some
Mhm,
things
mhm,
in the coaching part of things. But now
mhm.
God has released us back to revisit, and you will see us in 2024.
All right. We are excited about that. What can we, I know you're coming back with lives and things like that, but what else can we expect from you in the future?
In the future. you can expect that I am going to be doing, me and my husband, we're going to be doing way more community based things. I don't want to say too much because we're working on some things, and when the time is right, we're gonna be revealing it. But we haven't just been quiet to just be quiet. Let's just say
Yes,
that, because
yes,
we
yes.
understand the importance of blended families, and
Mhm.
I know, as well as my husband, he knows that that's the grace that God has given us, and it is for
Yes,
blended families.
yes, yes. How could the people contact you?
I can be contacted through social media. I'm on IG, I am on
Mhm.
Facebook. You may give me a call, you can inbox me. And so it's LaWanda Vance on Facebook, and then on IG, it's Lady LaWanda underscore Vance, I believe, something like that. But
Yes.
um, something like that. But typically, I get a lot of people inboxing me on
Mhm.
Facebook. That is my most. Uh, that's the most way that they actually get to me, is through Facebook. And so, if you want to connect with me, go on
Mhm.
Facebook and we will connect. I
Awesome.
will give
And
out my
then,
number, but I don't want all these people calling me.
right, right. And then do you have any openings in your daycare?
Currently, I have
Okay.
one opening in my daycare. It's an in-home daycare,
Mm-hmm.
very intimate setting. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do
Mm-hmm.
have one opening, and I do take DHS and I
Mm-hmm.
take private pay.
Awesome, awesome. And then one last thing, would you share the name of your church so that people can find you and your husband?
Our church is Faith to Faith Ministries. We are located at 2550 Eastern Avenue. We are inside of the Tabernacle Church. Our services start at 1 p.m. on Sunday and 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. That's our Bible class.
And this is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, correct?
Grand Rapids, correct. Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49507.
All right. Thank you so much, Lady Vance. And thank you to all who tuned in and who will watch this on replay. We appreciate you so much. Please join us at Relationships with Intention next Sunday at 7 p.m., where I have another special guest. She is an author. And so I am so looking forward to my time with her. You do not want to miss it. Until then, have an amazing week. God bless. Bye-bye.